Brian Crowley, the creator of Hamster Rage. How are you today, Brian?
Doing good. How are you?
Excellent. So we just have a few questions for you today.
Sure.
So why did you start this? Like, what influenced you to begin this?
Well, I'd been wanting to do my own comic, and I was hugely influenced by a lot of 80s toys and movies. Ninja Turtles was a giant influence on me. Um, and I kind of had done the thing in college where I had my initial ideas about doing a comic, and then eventually, years later, I came to figure out what this character was and really loved these ideas that I had about this character. And I was like, okay, well, how do I keep drawing this guy, and how do I make him into stories, and and how do I do things that I love and talk about things that I want to talk about with this character and these different things. And so that's what influenced me to start doing it.
That's awesome. So
So,
is there anything specific in your life that kind of pushed you to be started? Like anyone in your life that pushed you to start this whole comic and everything?
oh,
Or
I
was it
don't
just
I
over
don't
time, kind of?
I think over time, I mean, my uncle is an illustrator, so he's a huge influence.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um, and then I have a lot of friends that I used to work with at Devil's Due, like my friend Tim Seeley, who's a huge influence. So those guys inspired me a lot to I remember talking to Tim, and Tim was talking about Art Adams and how Tim and Art Adams both like did kind of girl and a monster kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's not quite what I want to do, but I kind of did my own spin on that with having my superhero MegaBabe, and then I have Roosevelt the hamster. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a girl and a monster, but it's kind of a different kind of girl and a monster type of
Yeah.
dynamic than the traditional kind of dynamic of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're more on equal footing,
Yes,
whereas most girl and monster stories tend not to be so much on equal footing.
exactly.
So,
Who are your main viewers?
a lot of women, a lot of young women, a lot of older women. Like when I go to conventions, my wife and I will be sitting there, and it's amazing. Like women in their 30s to 40s seem to be a lot of them seem to really like and take to it, which is very interesting.
Why do you think that?
I think it's because it's a very cute character, and I think that very cute monster characters are very appealing. And
Yeah,
I
did
think
you expect that to happen when you created this? Like that was going to be.
no, I thought it was going to be more of like I thought it would be more of like the weirder off teenagers that would like this, and I think a lot of them do too. But I
Yeah,
think it tends. But I actually think the audience that it's hit has been very diverse and very interesting.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah.
So do you,
Yeah.
when you're creating it, do you have an audience in mind, or do you just kind of go with your own ideas rather than appealing to the audience, or is it just your own thoughts kind of put out there and hoping it'll apply?
That's it. It's my own thoughts and just hoping other people like connect with it. I didn't really. I wish I didn't really think in terms of like who the audience was, other than thinking that I know that me as a straight white male, I was like, we're pretty much served. We're pretty much set in terms
Yeah.
of like. So I was like, when I was creating characters, I'm like, well, let's who are interesting? Like, what kind of interesting people can we do aside from the like traditional straight white male characters, and I want to expand past that and not just create a bunch of Peter Parkers and a bunch of Reed Richards and Steve Rogers. Like, we just don't need any more. There's too many of them. So,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
so
That's awesome.
yeah.
So everything that you do does that have anything to do with your life, or is it just pure imagination kind of stuff that you think of?
It's a combination of both. There's stuff like, for example, I have this grandmother character, and I've literally taken a quote straight from my grandmother that I put into her, and I also like took my mom's mother's name, and my dad's grandmother's name, and combined those two to make her actual name.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so like I've done that. My niece, I named the young girl character is named after my niece, and I've taken different pieces of my life and kind of reassembled them in ways to make it fun, and there's definitely like a lot of family dynamic stuff and weird stuff that goes on that's from my family that I'm pulling in to this thing.
That's cool though.
Yeah,
I'd feel really cool if I was in a comic.
yeah, and Chicago too. The location of the city is crucial to it, and living here for 10 years, that's as big a character as the characters. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to answer these questions today.
Oh, thank you for asking them. I was blessed.
Yeah, I'm so happy you were. Thank you very much. It was very insightful.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye now.